Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's tutorial, we'll be making this pixie or midi dress as requested by some of you. I'll be showing you an easy way to cut the band to get a perfect fit and avoid gaping at the center front of the band. My material is folded into two in a triangular form. I'm using this black material for illustration so that you can see my markings clearly. I will go down till I get to the point where I will have half of my front chest or armpit to armpit measurement, and with my tape slightly curved, I will mark this point. Please do not mark a straight line, slightly curved, and on this line I'm going to place half of my front chest measurement of 6 inches. With my tape placed on my front chest line, I'm going to go down 3.5 inches for the height of my band. So you mark how wide or small you want your band to be. I'll connect the points, and on this line I'll place 1/4 of my chest measurement. With my curve ruler, I'll connect these 2 points and cut out the pattern with my seam allowance included. When I'm cutting out this pattern, I don't cut the whole thing on fold. I cut halfway through and I open it up to cut the center front. This helps prevent any kind of V shape at the center front. This is practically all you need for this pattern. I'm just reshaping the armhole to give it more definition. There are no seam allowance on the armhole. The only place I have seam allowance is at the top and at the bottom. I'm also checking if I have my front chest measurement complete. I've gone ahead and cut 4 pieces for the front and the back. 2 of these will serve as lining for the front and the back. For the body of the dress, I'll be using my bust circumference to calculate the radius to get more gathers, but this will be gathered to my chest circumference. You can as well go ahead and calculate with your chest circumference. For this, I'll multiply my bust measurement by 1.5 inches, so go ahead and multiply yours by how full you want yours to be. My bust measurement is 38 inches multiplied by 1.5, this gives me 57 inches. I will divide these 57 inches into 2 for the front and back panel, and this gives me 28.5 inches. Now I have 28.5 inches, the total radius for the front panel, and 28.5 inches, the total radius for the back panel. Now my fabric is folded into 2. I will divide these 28.5 inches into 2. This gives me 14.25 inches, the radius of 1/4 of the circle. The length of this Ankara unfold is 45 inches. From the tip of the triangle, you're going to come down to the point where if you measure around the radius of the quadrant, it will equate to the number you have. I have already done that, and for me is at 19 inches. I will measure around the radius of this quadrant, and I have 14.75 inches as against the 14.25 that I'm looking for, which is okay. So the rest I'll be using as seam allowance. The rest of the fabric becomes the length of your gown. The remaining length of the gown from that 19 inches is 26 inches. I will go ahead and mark this on the fabric, and I'll show you how to add more fullness to your gown. To add more gathers, at the folded side of the fabric, I will go down 4 or 5 inches from my original gown length, and I'll connect this point back into the line with a slight curve, and I'll cut out my fabric. I inserted this overlay for you to see clearly what I'm doing because the markings on my fabric is very faint. I use this method to maneuver not having a very short gown, because the more you increase the gathers, like if you multiply by 2 or by 3, the more shorter your gown is going to be. So at the center, I will go down gradually first by 2 inches or 2.5 inches. Remember, we added 4 inches at the bottom, and you must not exceed whatever number you added. From the side of the flay, I'm going to gradually connect with a slight curve to this point and a little bit past the center, just like I'm doing in the video. I will measure this new line to see how much I have added. I came down by 2.5 inches at the center. On the new line, I have 15.75 inches as against 14.75 inches, 1/4 of the radius of the circle. Remember, I measured from the side of the flace to the center. So when I multiply this 15.75 by 2, this will give me 31.5 inches, the total radius for the front panel, and 31.5 inches, the total radius for the back panel. Now my chest measurement is 36 inches and half of that is 18 inches. If I minus 18 from 31 inches, I will have 13.5 inches, which is what I will gather back into 18 inches. I'll go ahead and cut this out. Please do not cut this on fold, otherwise you're going to have a sharp V in the center. Cut with the fabric open this way and make sure you cut past the center front before you fold over to finish off the cutting. I'll use this as a template to cut the back, and I'll also cut out my pockets. I went down 8.5 inches for the height of my pocket, and my pocket opening is 7 inches. I'll start first with the bands. I have interfaced two, one for the front and the other for the back. The other two are the lining. I'll go ahead and prepare them. I'll go ahead and join each interface piece with their corresponding lining. I have joined the bands and I've top stitched them at the top. I'll go ahead and stitch close the armhole side and the lower part of the band to keep them in place. The bands are done. I'll run a basting stitch on the flay of this dress and gather it. I am done gathering the flay. I'll go ahead and attach the bands, but first I'll hold them in place with pins. So I'm just checking to be sure I gathered it to the right measurement before running my stitches. My chest measurement is 36 inches and half of that is 18, and here I have a little over 18 inches. So I'll go in and gather it, not forgetting my seam allowance, and run my stitches. I will also attach my pockets. I have attached the band to the body of the dress, and I've also attached the pockets to the front and back panel. I have also cleaned off raw edges with the zigzag stitch. I'll go ahead and attach the strap of the dress. These are the strips we'll be using to make the strap for the dress. Each measure 2.5 inches in width and the length measure 34.5 inches. The width of my strap over my shoulder is 0.75 inches because I wanted a little covering for my bra strap, but around my armhole is half an inch. I have pinned my strip to the dress. Around the armhole is half an inch and this extends to 3/4 inch, that's 0.75 inch towards the length of the strap. I'll go ahead and pipe the armhole of this dress with this strip and create our straps. I have attached the strip. I have trimmed down the excess seam allowance around the armhole, leaving that of the 0.75 inch at the top. I will use it as a guide to maintain my armpit to armpit measurement when I'm top stitching close this strap. I'll go ahead and finish off the strap, and the rest I'll do off camera. So guys, I'm done attaching the strip for the front and the back. This dress is as good as done. I'll go ahead and attach the front and back panels together with a straight stitch, hem the bottom of the gown, sew up our belt. The length of my belt is 90 inches and the width is 7 inches. Here is the final result. The dress is done and dusted. This dress is giving summer vibes. It's a very comfortable and sweet dress. I rocked this style last summer, people loved it, and I made a number of these in short and long. So if you'll be recreating this style, let me know in the comment. If you enjoyed this video, do not forget to give it a thumbs up, share with your soulmate, leave all your questions in the comment, and I'll see you guys in my next one. A bientôt!